Hi, Release Fire here, so I'm going to talk you through how to build a plane in Lego Fortnite. As ever, if the video helps you out, drop me a like below and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. But I'm not just going to tell you how to build a simple plane, I'm going to tell you how to build an epic plane. I'm going to tell you how to build a plane that you can steer, and I'm also going to show you how to build a low resource plane to use to get you started in survival mode. But as with all of the things that you can make that are moving in Lego Fortnite, what you need to do is start with a dynamic foundation, and then you can start building on top of that. So I'm just going to lay down a platform of floors. You can just use simple rustic floors if you want to. For example, if you're in survival mode and you don't have ancient wide floors unlocked as of yet, you can just use rustic floors. But with the floors, what you're looking to do is get 3 of them in a line. It's a little bit tricky and you're going to need to use some of the nudges to get them in place. And once you've got 3 in a line like that, you can then start building the tail. So with this, I've gone with the thin floor, and it's the shortest of the thin floors for the back part of the tail. And again, it's just kind of tricky getting everything to line up. I'm sure you've had the same experience, but it can be done. You just need to kind of change your angle, move around, use the nudge function to be able to get a better position. And then once you've built in a couple of them, you can then make it look a little bit more like a plain wing by kind of having them a little bit lower down, further along. You can see it kind of like builds across. And then there's a last one just next to that to make it look a bit like a V shape. And then once you've got that in place, repeat the process on the other side and you've got the tail section built. And then we're going to move on to the wings, and what you want to use is the longest of the thin flooring sections to do this. Now this is something that you unlock a little bit later in the game. Now if you're not too sure how to unlock items in survival mode, it's the same process as getting new villagers, and you can find out exactly what to do with the link above. But getting back to the plane, you just need to put them heading out around about halfway up, and if you do a stack of 3 and then a stack of 2 just beyond them, it starts to look a little bit like a plain wing. Make sure you're using the snap function to be able to get them to snap into place. It doesn't always work, it's not always perfect, but it does help, and it gets you into a good position to then be able to use the nudge function. You can see here, I wasn't able to get it to snap on the end. I got it to snap in the middle, but then I nudged it out to the side, and then I can nudge it up a little bit to be in line with the other plane wing. And then you need to repeat the process so that you've got 2 of them in place. And then I just put another one just there to be able to make it look a little bit more like an actual wing. And then looking at the front, I didn't want it to be quite so boxy, so I did a similar thing with the longest ones in the middle, and then 2 of the medium ones, and then 2 of the short ones right next to that, and that just made it a little bit more of a rounder nose cone. And once you've got that in place, you want to get 2 of the thrusters, which are in the toys area. I'm sure you've seen them. Now I've gone with big thrusters because this is a big plane and I want it to go pretty fast. But make sure you get them to line up perfectly. They've got to be on the same position at the back, otherwise you'll start to go in one direction a little bit more, and that gets pretty annoying if you start flying it. So it really is important to get them in a good position right from the beginning. And then you can put thrusters on the bottom of it, but I found it doesn't give you as much of a consistent flight. Instead, what you want to do is use the little balloons and position them all around the ship, so you get a really good balance, because the idea is you want to be able to hover at a certain level and then zoom forward using the thrusters at the back. But you'll need to get the balloons perfectly balanced, or at least well balanced enough. You can see there's too many at the back, so you need to be able to put them in or compensate with ones at the front, so you get really good lift going upwards. And then you've also got your plane completely level. Once you've got it level, you know you're pretty good for flying. Now you can use big balloons if you want even more lift, but I kind of felt like these little ones were perfect for me. And then you want to put an activation switch in the middle of your plane, and then if you're in sandbox mode, you can kind of have a look up and kind of see your handiwork. It definitely looks like a plane now, and with the thrusters at the back, it's going to be pretty good. However, if you are in sandbox mode, make sure you land properly on the plane if you do fly around, otherwise your plane will just fly away. So make sure you land before you activate the switch, and then this will be the maiden voyage where I'm actually on it, and you can see it flies perfectly straight. I'm going in a nice straight line, the thrusters are firing, there's no problems, I'm not like tilting or veering too much to one side. It goes in a straight line, which is pretty good, and you can see how fast it's going on the map there. It's way faster than walking. But once you've done that, there's still more to do, and like I said, I'm going to talk you through how to make it steer a little bit later. But firstly, I wanted to show you that you can also put other items on your plane, including a crafting bench. Now, it does make your plane a little bit heavier, so it might be a good idea to put that more in the middle, but you can compensate for that really easily by just throwing in a couple of extra balloons to balance it out. Make sure you kind of tread carefully around your crafting bench, and then drop in a balloon just in front of there, and that'll give it a little bit more lift at the front, and then you can put one a little bit behind, just a little bit closer to the bench, just to make it really nicely balanced. And now that it's in perfect alignment with that last balloon, I can show you that you can actually use the bench so long as it's not raining or snowing, as it was in my case. So that's pretty cool. But now I'm going to talk you through how to do a similar thing, but with low resources for survival mode, and this will be the first of the steering planes. So this will steer, and the idea is that you use a dynamic foundation, and then you put a foundation block in the middle and attach the thruster to it. Put the switch on the opposite side or relatively close to the block so that you've got quite a nice balance in the middle, and then you just want to put balloons on every corner. Don't worry about falling off too much because you kind of don't, I found. And then once you activate the switch, you can go in one direction, which makes you think, well, that's not steering. But the good news is that because of this block in the middle, it means you can actually take the thruster off one side and put it on another, and that will allow you to steer the ship a little bit more. So just put the block on the other side, the opposite side to the direction that you want to go, and then once again you just activate the switch, and that will allow you to steer in the other direction. And the good news is that also works on the big plane, which I'll show you next. So just repeat the same steps with the block in the middle, and then put the thruster on the side. And then this time when you hit the switch, instead of just going in a straight line, you'll steer to the left. Now you can't see it very well from this angle. However, from the next one, you should be able to see exactly how perfectly this steers to the left. So you can see I'm going left with this one, and then if I want to go right, I'll just move the thruster over onto the left-hand side. And that is how to build a plane that can steer in Lego Fortnite. Like I said earlier, if the video helps you out, drop a like below. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already with the link on the left-hand side, and see more of my guide videos with the links on the right-hand side. Drop a comment, let me know if you're enjoying Lego Fortnite as much as I am, and I will catch you next time.